Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Spirituality. What is spirituality? There are all these spiritual organizations, spiritual schools, spiritual paths, spiritual techniques. What is spirituality? Zlata from Russia asked me, what does it mean to be a spiritual person? Usually, when we look at the traditional spiritual path, group, organization, we are getting a whole list of what it means, how to behave, what to do, what not to do. A spiritual person does not do like this, a spiritual person does like that. Spirituality for me means to really connect with that which is true. And actually, when we have a good look at that which makes up the personality disappears more and more. It's more like the one who lets go of the personality is spiritual. It doesn't become a spiritual person. It's not that we have to appear in a certain way. It's not that we have to become a better person. It's not that we have to become holy saints. To really be spiritual is to sincerely look at oneself and then remove all that which is destructive. Remove all that which is creating more the sensation of a distance to reality. Remove all that creates the sense of separation. And connect more and more consciously with what you really are. With that sense of being alive, of being present right now. That is for me real spirituality. You don't become a spiritual person. The more you look at that, the more you let go all those hang-ups that are personal. Incidentally, if you do so, if you remove the obstacles, if you remove those reactions that create unnecessarily tensions, people may say you become a better person. But actually, you let go more and more of the person, of the identification with the person. The role we still can play, knowing this is just a role, knowing that prior to that, there is that simple, direct awareness, that direct experience of being, here, now, timelessly here, now, spacelessly here, now. Just that sense of being alive, of being conscious, connecting in one way or another with that consciously. That is what I mean with being spiritual. Now, all those rules in the religions, in the spiritual path that are not so close to religions, but still they have that whole list of things that one should avoid, that one should go after. They are not wrong. They help people to be more conscious. They are usually instructions that are not liked by the me personality, and one has to confront them if one wants to follow all those rules. One Theravadin monk, Buddhist monk, told me once, I don't remember how many, but 160 or something rules they have, maybe even more, but lots and lots of them. And if you have a rule for everything, then of course that helps you to be more conscious in what you do. But then when it's in the religions, most of the time it becomes totally a moral issue. You have to be good in order that after life, when you're confronting God, and they will look at all that you have done and judge you whether you are worthy or not worthy, then it becomes a moral issue. Do not indulge into destructive ways. Has nothing to do with morality. It is simply a reasonable, intelligent way of using one's vital force, of using one's consciousness, of using the opportunity of every moment. If we start to sincerely look at ourselves, we become aware everything that helps us to connect, everything that rather weakens that sense of separation feels good, natural, feels like that it should be like this. And everything that is the contrary, that creates more of a sense of separation, that creates more pain for oneself, for those around, unnecessarily. It's not natural, and it's better avoided. The more you are living consciously, the more you are alert, the more you are conscious not simply of what is happening around, but what is happening in our own mind, our reactions to situations, our reactions to people, how we think, how we feel, how we speak, how we act. To be aware of it, that is the main base for spirituality. Because when we have a good look at that, then we see what's going on. And automatically one feels like avoiding those things that create unnecessarily suffering. It's not natural to suffer. Naturally, you're full of joy. Naturally, it's all harmonious. To be spiritual means to become natural. To come back to that what we naturally are, come back to that what life could be, what it is meant to be. Playful, joyous, learning with every moment, getting richer for the experience with every moment, For that, we have to let go of that identification with the role that we are playing. That role is there. There is a manifestation, there is an appearance, and there is a personality. But I am not that personality. That's the role I'm playing in this theater. I am prior to that. Being aware of that is spiritual. Bringing the attention back to that is a spiritual attempt, a spiritual effort. So Slata, don't try to play being a spiritual person. Simply learn to be yourself. Learn to be authentic. Learn to listen to that inner guidance that guides you step by step what to do, what not to do, what feels right from your heart. Sometimes it's what the whole world says and what all the others say. Sometimes you may go your own way and people around may not be so happy about it. But if you feel deep down, yes, it's right, then this is the right thing to do. More important to listen to that than to any list of do's and don'ts that you can get in spiritual organizations. How to behave to be spiritual. Again, I want to emphasize, I'm not saying they are wrong. They help people to become more conscious. But that is what counts. We can go directly to that. Just remind ourselves. Just be alert. Let's not go through our life half asleep. Let's not go through our life unconscious of what is going on in our mind. Become aware what's going on. See where there are contradictions. How many times we want things we don't want simultaneously? How many times one wants to go left and right simultaneously? How many times there are so reactions, and if we give way to those reactions, they create more tensions and don't bring anything constructive, creative in the situation. When we start to see that, then we learn to let go all that creates unnecessary pain. It's not natural. And we learn to be natural. Our natural state is full of peace and bliss. There is a joyousness of existence. And if we let it manifest, it keeps on manifesting stronger and stronger, increasing from moment to moment. It's not so easy for everybody to just go by themselves on that path, to be always so awake, so alert. So it's perfectly all right if one feels strong to join a group, to be with a teacher who can help you, support you, direct you. But ultimately, no matter our situation, what matters is how we learn to spend moment to moment our daily life. We can be in a spiritual group and feel very spiritual and go about it half asleep, just learn a new routine and a new way of behaving and feel spiritual about it, but never take the trouble to really have a good look at oneself. I've seen examples of people who have been doing daily some spiritual exercise, and it certainly has helped them to deal somehow with their life, but they never really made the step to sincerely look at themselves, sincerely look how they are functioning. And so even after a long time, all the old patterns are still fully in force and creating destructive situations. It is not necessary. But for that, we have to have courage to face what is there, because it's often not so pleasant to see what is happening in our mind. Often it's not so pleasant to be honest and see, okay, that's how I function habitually. And then we can start to work on it, to remove those habits, those patterns that keep us away from being natural, from consciously being connected with the essence. Somewhere one must really be fed up with suffering. Somewhere one must really have enough of thinking, I just go on with my same limitations. Most of the time, there's a lot of trouble, but in between, it's also quite nice, so it's bearable. We can live differently. We can learn to live consciously in a way that in the beginning, when it's still necessary, we just have to make an effort to remind ourselves to connect no matter what is happening. And then more and more it will start to appear spontaneously, naturally. That connection is there, that consciousness is there, and the whole picture changes. The external situation may be very disharmonious. Is this in many places like this right now on earth? But in spite of that, we can be at peace with ourselves. We can connect consciously that which is always in harmony, which is the base of life, which is the base of any joyousness that is there. It is not so difficult to do, but it has to be done. And that is the difficulty for the mind to remember in the situations. Hey, look at yourself, see how the reactions out of habit come again unnecessarily. They don't bring anything spiritual. They don't bring anything creative into the situation. So I need not go down that road again. I can learn not to act out of habit, finding myself entangled all the time into problems because of that. I can learn to let it go, simplify the whole way of existing, and become natural. For me, that means to live spiritually. Hari Om. Hari Om. Okay. And then I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who is ready to come in? You're welcome to do so. Right now is a special situation. And I know it is not always easy to do what I'm talking about. The influences are very strong and actually try to pull people away from that which is true. The influences are very strong. They try to cut our conscious experience off from connecting with reality. And those who are not alert will be pulled into that more and more. And it's like the level of experience gets smaller and gets down, gets darker. That pull is very strong. But in spite of that, we need not go along with it. Because of that, it is doubly important that we really sincerely make that effort. It is not terrible effort trying to break through something. It is just that which is in the beginning and for quite a while and time and again unpleasant, uncomfortable for the personality, because we have to remind ourselves, hey, look, this goes again continuously against the natural stream. So this is often not necessarily a very comfortable thing to do. But the more we do that, the more this happens spontaneously, effortlessly, and it is the only way that makes really sense to exist. Learning to be again natural, like we were when we were little children, in spite of having an intellect of an adult that is capable of assessing situations and choosing intelligently. But that naturalness, unfortunately, has been overshadowed. There may be a few exceptions, but in nearly everybody while growing up in this world. And right now there is a tremendous intensity. And there's a very strong influence of a force that tries to distract people, tries to pull them away, tries to cut off that natural connection with existence. But everybody has the power who sincerely wants to see through it, not to get caught in it. And even if we get caught in it, even when that support comes in the bad direction, if that willingness is there to see it, to look at it, it is possible to detach from it, to let it go, and to come back home. It is not made easy right now, but if we do it in spite of that, there is a lot of benefit in it. Because there is also the opposite force that quickly comes in and supports if we make an effort in the right direction. If we look out, we can see what kind of forces are on the way and very active. Look at what is happening in the world. All manifestation of that negative, destructive force. People, innocent people suffer, and those who make decisions are very much controlled by that destructive force. But we have that possibility. So it is doubly important now that we are not missing those opportunities, that we have the courage not to be sucked blindly into a current that goes more and more towards destruction. But it's the often for people the most comfortable way to go. Comfortable simply because out of fear, if I'm not doing that, I'm getting into trouble. If I'm not joining the general stream, there may be more difficulties. So it's the most comfortable to just go along and not look too close and not wanting even to see what's going on. Just take the little chances for enjoyment where they come, at least. We have that potential. Everyone has that potential to wake up from that, to wake us, to shake ourselves out of it, to become aware, hey, we can live in another way. I need not go in that destructive direction. No matter what is happening in the world, it is possible to detach from that, to turn the attention back to that luminous beingness, to bring it back into that, dive into that, and get rooted into that, and live in peace with oneself, to live more and more joyous and radiate it out into the atmosphere towards the manifestation and the unmanifest. Like that, everyone can contribute, that things that are very drastic, things that are very bad, that are happening, they can change. Everyone has to take the responsibility for oneself and not give it over to politicians or to anyone. Here, now, I can decide whether I at least attempt to be alert, whether I at least attempt to connect. My decision may not be strong enough that I'm always successful. So what? But the basic attitude is there, that basic attempting is that in itself will develop our strength, that it becomes gradually easier and easier. So let us not shrink because it's a difficult situation, because it's not so easy to keep that alertness. Just let us remind ourselves, hey, this is the way, the most reasonable way, the most sensible way to spend this opportunity, to spend our time in this magical show, that we can make use of that intensity and learn and grow very fast, go very deep, very quickly. It's not out of morals, but it's simply because it's the only way that makes total sense, that helps us to come back to the natural state that is still there, it's simply overshadowed. So we have to decide again and again. That's the direction. Let me strengthen that. Let me not spend my time not trying to avoid thinking of that, but thinking all the times of so many other things. Let me not avoid to be honest and see what's going on, not trying to sugarcoat it and put it away. Here, now, you are alive. Here, now, you are touching reality. Only here, now. Here, now, you feel that sense of presence, that sense of being alive, being conscious. That energy of existence is pulsating now, and we can bring the attention back to that, dive into that, and live from that perspective. Make it our, let's make it our home. Let's make it that which is always first, out of which then the whole experience is flowing. No matter what is happening in the world, it is possible. Because the positive, the good forces, they also are eager to come in and help and support, but in an expansive, loving way, not in a destructive way that makes consciousness, the conscious experience, smaller and smaller. All right. Again, I'm asking. We are 16 people. Is there anyone who wants to say something? You're welcome.
Hari Om, Werner.
Hello, Vikas.
I want to ask, what should we teach our children? Like for us, it is here and now. We should concentrate on that.
Mhm.
But our children, they have all these. Obviously, they are more present in the present, um, but they have influences like they will see a lot of TV and television. There are serials where it is very attractive. Lot of new dresses or lot of things which are very attractive.
Yeah.
So isn't that pulling them into the same Maya?
Well, it's good to talk to them. You cannot prevent them from living in the present world with all the influences. We cannot shield them, lock them away from all that. So let them live their life and connect with all those things. But then at the same time, it's good to talk to them and make them clear. Look, be alert, see what is happening. Then if they want to go into things, and then they must also make their own experiences. You cannot say, oh, no, 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 don't make any bad experiences. If they want to, then they have to. But the main thing is always, it starts with ourselves. The way we are living from moment to moment, that is the greatest influence for them. And if you are reminding yourself to connect, to be strong, automatically something flows over to them, and they may not be quite aware of it, but deep down they appreciate it very greatly. And one can talk to people. One need not think to people, to children. One need not think they are stupid. If we really from the heart talk about these things and make them clear, look, I understand you want to do this and you want to do that, you want to be happy, but have a good look when you're doing and see. how happy it makes. I can tell you, you are the source of your happiness. It's coming from yourself. So live your life, go for what you want to go for, but also spend every day some time. Just be quiet and look at yourself. That would be very good if they could get interested into that.
Thank you, Werner. Thank you. Hari Om.
You're welcome. I wish you well. Hari Om. To come back to the discussion, what is spirituality? If you have children, you don't have to somehow try to force a spiritual way on them. Like this, if you behave like this is spiritual. If you behave like that, that's not spiritual. It's more important that we learn ourselves to be natural. And if we can transmit that awareness, how much easier it is to live to be natural. How much easier it is to live authentic, not always somewhere against our will, adjusting, simply to fit into the crowd, to get accepted. Sometimes people may think you are an oddball, so what if you continue, they will start to respect that in spite of that. Somewhere everybody deep down has respect for that because they feel, yes, it would make sense to live in a way that we are conscious. If we can somehow transmit that awareness to children, then we have done a great job. Still, they will have to go through their experiences. One cannot prevent it. They are not somehow by mistake born now in this world. So they will have to make the experiences in this world. But if that base is there, that awareness is there, that somehow something is not so perfectly right in how things are being presented. We cannot artificially make ourselves happy and fulfilled with all those crazy things that are being offered that should do the trick. But learn to recognize more and more. There is a sense of fulfillment that is basically always there. A sense of happiness that simply bubbles out of our own selves, that need not be cultivated by doing crazy things, buying this, buying that, getting lost in the virtual digital reality. This experience as a human in this time space is already magic enough. It's magical. We just have to recognize it. We don't have to try to find that magic somewhere else. We have to be convinced. We have to honestly live in that direction, and that can be transmitted to children simply by being with them. At the same time, a good word in the right place here and there certainly can be very helpful, but it's no point in going after children. This is not good, this is not spiritual. Just give them a chance to live not destructive. And if they want to go for destructive things, They may have the need, they may need the experience, but that they can also be aware, they can always come back and get support in living in a way that doesn't create suffering. Children don't have it easy now. With all that is going on, with that continuous influence in that is very strong in a direction that is not healthy. If in this situation we just can somehow transmit that awareness, it is possible, in spite of all that influence, to connect with something divine, something pristine, pure, that is not affected by it, that we can learn to be in conscious touch with that, and then there is so much more happiness than by whatever we can devise trying to create happiness. Okay, I'm asking again. Is there anyone who would like to come in? Welcome to do so.
Hello.
Hello, Andreas.
Um, to when I try to be in the present,
Yeah,
and it works out as far as I can tell a little bit, then it to me it feels more that I'm more relaxed.
yes.
But it's not very joyful, so I not feel very much eager to go into that direction. Can you say anything about? You always say it's like this bubbling joy coming up, but I miss out on that for some reason.
Yes.
You say something to that?
Yes, because as we have been living in a opposite way in many, a lot of the time, then it's still uh, a little an effort to really connect. It needs a reminder, and there it's not so easy to relax in it and stay connected. But the more we are doing it, the easier it becomes to relax, and the more you are capable to relax in that connectedness, not hold it on with effort, but being more and more relaxed and connect in spite of that, not relax and drift off. Relax, and in that relaxation, that starts to happen more and more. Just patiently continue, it will start to come more and more. That sense of fulfillment, not necessarily big ecstasies, but just a peaceful joyousness. Eine heitere Gelassenheit.
Okay. It's when I meditate, a lot of times my and I sit cross-legged or like half lotus. Um,
my legs are very tense. This morning I tried to relax them, and I found that a whole lot of tension in my belly, and this spreads out to the legs, and I could relax there a little bit, but it's very difficult.
Right. I mean, as for some people, it's easier to sit cross-legged. For others, it's more difficult. You don't have to necessarily force yourself. But if you do, and you feel like that, then consciously, from the beginning, when they are not yet paining, consciously relax your legs.
They're not paining so much. I just realized that they're tense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to even get into the position I need is certain. They they're not they're tense when I mean I can sit for 50 minutes without much problems, but it's still the legs are a little bit tight. So
Yeah.
yeah.
As long as they are not starting to hurt, then it's not much of a problem, huh?
No, because you always say relax your legs, and it seems. I mean, for me, I feel more that I'm holding a lot of energy in my lower belly, and or what's the benefit of relaxing the legs?
Relaxing the legs helps you. Now you said energy, but before you said a lot of tension in the belly.
Yeah.
And if you're relaxing the legs, if you are capable of relaxing the legs, even if you attempting to relax, if you're sitting crossed legged position, then relax the knees. And then you feel when you can relax a bit more, you feel also a part of that tension that is in the belly has the tendency to relax, to flow out. Like you said the other way, there's a lot of tension in the belly, and then it goes in my legs and most probably in the rest of the body. If you can relax the legs, if you can relax the knees, then the tension starts to flow out. And you can relax also more that tension. If we go in a place where there is a lot of tension, right in the center of it, and try to relax that, it's much more difficult to really do something about it. But if you can instead relax that physical base, then there is a great chance that already a good part of that tension that is not necessary also disappears.
Are there other reasons for relaxing the legs, like in the teachings of Don Juan by Carlos Castaneda? There's always a phrase that there's a center of perceptions I think at the outside of the calves, Wade.
I don't know, remember that. I read Castaneda long ago. But I'm not referring to that. I'm
Okay.
referring to my own experience that when I started to understand what the difference it makes when I consciously relax the legs, how it has become easier to deal with emotions, how it has become easier to deal with physical tensions, energetic tensions, then I see it's worth that we give it a bit of attention. And the number of people who really truly tried, they were surprised how it could help them with anger and such stuff. And also tensions that are in the body, that are in the belly, that they have the tendency to gradually sort of evaporate. There was one woman who kept on telling me, you always telling that relaxing the legs, what has that to do with anything? What has that to do with anything spiritual? Why should you insist? And she had a block of even wanting to try. But then sometime, somewhere, she started to at least think, well, I can give it a try. And one day she came to me totally astonished and said, Hey, you were right. It does something. It helps a lot. She had for years not even really sincerely tried because it was just, oh, this silly relaxing the legs things. What can this have to do with my spiritual attempts to connect, to be in a good meditation or whatever? And then when that resistance left and she started to do so, then she was totally flabbergasted how effective it was. But you can relax your legs also when you are standing up, not simply in crossed legs position. Crossed legs, it helps to put the attention a bit on the knees and relax.
My knees are usually not hurting so much or feel tense.
Yeah.
It's more in the middle of the Oberschenkel. What's that in English?
The tights.
Tights.
Yeah, right. Right. But if you're relaxing the knees, then those tensions also reduce. Yes.
Slowly, I get an idea of what you like. How, I work more with the body and the bodily experiences.
Mhm.
But then I ask myself, what does it mean to work with consciousness
Mm.
in the meditation?
Right. But the body helps. I mean, it's not the only way to go about it. I simply found out when I finally included the body more, then that brought a lot. Before, I was rather the enemy of my body. Body was that which prevented me from being spiritual. Pulling the consciousness on its own level and wanting to get out of this body, wanting to transcend that body. And then when I started to consciously include, then I understood how great a help it can be. You can do it without that, but if you get around to somehow include the body, then it stops to be an enemy. It becomes a servant, and actually the human body can become an extremely powerful temple. Hmm. So don't separate them too much. The physical, you are saying you are busy with your physical experiences. Then where is the spirituality there? The spiritual experience, the consciousness. But this being aware of your body sensations brings you in the present. They are now. They are not a moment before, a moment after. They are now. And that being in the present is actually connecting with your spiritual essence. Simply, we don't have to get obsessed on the physical level. We can just include it, and then in relaxing that, the heart opens automatically to be more expansive and include all the other levels too.
Okay.
Hario, Hario. Is there anybody else who would like to come? Hello, you have to unmute.
I forgot.
Well,
Hello.
now we can hear you. Hello, Sabine.
Well, I make a try. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous.
Doesn't matter.
Well, it's interesting that you're talking about relaxation because I thought of maybe I should ask the question if let's say awakening or remembering who I really am is has a lot to do with relaxation. Actually, that's the question. So if it has a lot to do with relaxation, and because I realized this morning that because today is a day where I really said, okay, nothing to do today, no to dos, just staying home and being calm and and follow the movements that follow the flow or follow whatever wants to be done or even not follow.
Yes.
Then and then I felt a deep relaxation and it's always I remember it's always like that when I've come into this moment of relief and letting go of all my ideas of what has to be done or not to be done opens up this presence and
Yes.
this being in the moment, and also the joy is rising.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zeitregelassen, as you said
Mm.
before, the joyfulness and not ecstatic, but it's like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Good. What has relaxation to do with realization?
realization. Yeah, that's the word I was missing.
Hmm. Basically, that realization is always there. We just have forgotten, we have overshadowed. And how are we keeping those overshadowing going alive is by creating a lot of tensions without being aware of it. In that tension, then the attention feels like separate, cut off from the source, from that which is natural. And somehow or other, we have to see that they are there, and somehow or other, we have to work through it. We can work through it trying to be forced to cut through them, or we can just learn to more and more relax. And in that relaxing, those tensions, they start to disappear, and those tension keeps those layers up. And when the tensions go, they start to evaporate. The more you then can relax. But that doesn't mean simply physical relaxation. It means relaxing. We pick up a thought, something is annoying, and then we catch ourselves that, oh, the mind goes round and round about it. And then we get all tense emotionally and intellectually, but at the same time also physically. But then see that there is a relaxation, not simply physical, but it can also be energetic and emotional and intellectual. It's simply why I'm saying relax the body. It's the easiest part that we can see, that we can feel. It's the easiest part to start with. But then when we physically relax, then give it a chance that you're also relaxing energetically. And then you relax emotionally and intellectually, and stuff that we are turning around, suddenly we feel it needs not be turned around anymore. It's so much easier to simply be here. The tradition tells always detach, detach, detach. It's the attachment that prevents us from being our natural selves. But detaching is nothing else but letting go of things, and we can let go things when we relax. As long as we are full of tension, how can we let go of the things that we are holding on to? Somehow that possibility has to be there, that somehow it becomes open and expansive, that those things can let go. So the detachment is very much goes together with relaxation. The relaxation helps us to let go what disturbs us. And that is the obstacle. All the things that disturb us that we are conscious of, but there are many things that we are not conscious of, prevent us from being in that natural state. That realization is always there already. We just have forgotten and overshadowed it.
Mm-hmm. And it's maybe also a process if it becomes more conscious, because I realize that I'm becoming more conscious about my tensions, and
Yes.
when it happens, I let go. What happens then? So that there's more space and more joyfulness, and that's quite. What did I want to say? I realized that becoming more conscious about that, it's easier also to make a stop and
Yes.
breathe into the tension and to let go. Even in stressful situations, sometimes one is really stuck because my working my working days may be very stressful sometimes. And it's becoming better to realize that I'm creating this stress and the tightness. Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course, there is always a possibility we find ourselves in very tense and stressful situations, but then it's still we ourselves who do it to ourselves.
yeah, absolutely.
We don't have to make the others responsible for it.
Mhm, mhm,
And then when we become aware, okay, I'm doing that and I need not,
mhm.
then I can start to let go.
Because if one is under pressure, then there are more mistakes and then the stress is.
Yes, right.
That's what I realize, yeah. And I wanted to add to your conversation with Andreas, because the tensions in the legs. I had that when I was in India because I had a really a stressful time before. And then I had a massage of an Ayurvedic practitioner,
Yeah,
and he taught that and he worked on that. And also having a calm time there, it helped to relax the legs. But sometimes we keep the tensions in the stress
yeah,
because we're somehow in a flight and reacting mode, and this keeps it keeps our legs tight.
yes.
Maybe this would help to support to have some massage.
Yes, nothing
Sometimes.
wrong taking supports like this if you
Yeah.
feel attracted to it and if
Yeah,
it helps.
sure.
But you're right, actually. That's why I'm emphasizing so much relaxing the legs, because
Yes.
everybody, as soon as there is a little tension, a little stress, immediately the legs are hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I really could feel it pointed on by the Ayurvedic practitioner on that. I realized, okay, I'm really I'm doing this. My
Yes,
body, my yeah,
right.
it's my
And
mind and
if we can then in a situation redirect the attention to a simple thing like giving the command to relax the legs, relax the
yeah,
feet, then already we detaching also from the situation that is stressful.
yeah. And I also try that when I remember, not always, but when I'm
Yes,
in a
when you
stressful.
remember and
Yeah,
you see how it works.
yeah,
Yes, great. It's simple.
yeah.
And
Really.
and yes, it doesn't sound very sophisticated spiritual, but
Mhm.
that's what I'm trying to convey, that the body is part of the expression and we can turn it into a spiritual instrument that is extremely helpful.
Yeah.
After
Thank
all,
you.
we are in this level, in this time space, appearing in a human form, and the body is part of it. And for long, I thought being busy with the body is preventing me from spiritual. And always was a bit at war with my own body, which created a lot of tension and a lot of pains on different levels. And when I stopped doing so and learned to integrate the body more and not feel somehow guilty about it, not think it's wrong, it's not spiritual. If the body feels good, that's not spiritual. So but that's a good base that we can not take the body so much so serious, but let the consciousness expand and unfold.
Yes.
Shall we leave it at that?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hariyo.
Hariom. Hariom. Hariom.
Is there anybody else who would like to come in? When I first came here 25 years ago, not first time here, but for this time, 25 years ago, and then started to talk to people. And then I heard them the murmuring in the background. Sometimes it reached me that, Werner talks too much about the body. But I can see where they are coming from. For having come from Advaita. Well, I have been doing yoga, so I included somewhat the body, but for me it was just I have to keep it healthy enough that it's not even more of an obstacle. And from the Advaita standpoint, as it is being taught, one can make that mistake of thinking the body is really the obstacle. No, it is the mind that is the obstacle. It's our mental attachment to things that keep the consciousness locked into that little bubble of the me that is the obstacle. The body is not the obstacle. The body is also an expression, a manifestation of the self. It is not apart from the self. There is that traditional way to go deeper. I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. I'm not the intellect. I'm not the energy. I'm not this. I'm not that. Neti. Just negating the identification with anything until that pure beingness remains. And because of that, that can create like a negative attitude to all the expressions. I'm not the body, but the body is, as long as this consciousness appears into this human world, the body is an expression of the self. It's not apart from the self. So we don't have to create that division. People are usually much too much attached physically to their physical appearance, to their physical prowess, to whatever happens on the physical level. And for that, it's good to get a bit detachment from that. Any obsession is an obstacle. And people are easily obsessed with their body, totally identifying that is me. And somehow, incidentally, there is also some consciousness that has evolved in the brain or whatever they think, whatever they think. And to get rid of that obsession, these kind of teachings are given and can be helpful. I'm not the body. Of course, I'm not the body. But the body is not apart from myself. I'm not the mind. These are just thoughts coming and going. I'm prior to that. I'm not the intellect. I'm not that capacity to discriminate right, wrong, good, bad. I'm prior to that. But these are all expressions of the self, and we can learn to bring them into harmony. We don't have to be obsessed with the body, but by including the body, I simply mean it's a very powerful means to help to redirect the attention from mental obsessions. When the mind is going round and round and round, being busy with something, and we become aware and we say, stop, and it still goes on. And then it's useless by thinking again and again the same thing over and over, and we say, stop, and then it still goes on. But if we can find a way to redirect the attention, we can redirect it to the question, who is thinking? To the inquiry, and go directly to that. But we can also redirect the attention to feeling the body sensations, to be aware of the breath. It's not that we somehow come down on that level. We simply become aware at the same time that what she just said before, that then we are getting all tense. When things are in the mind and that's going round and we are not happy about something, then without being aware, we have become very tense physically. And if we redirect the attention from that subject, from thinking to be aware of the body sensations, becoming aware what kind of tensions there are, and we learn to relax, that helps us to really get rooted, to somehow come back home into that timelessness of the now. And here and now we are touching reality. And if we keep on relaxing, we are not obsessed with the body, then it starts to relax also the other levels. If we physically, consciously relax, it starts to relax also more the energies. The energies are flowing freer and easier. One feels like one has immediately more space. It's not that we have to struggle and work and then maybe sometimes one day we're getting a reward, but that moment, it's already like, a burden is falling off. And then one more burden is falling off. And you're feeling lighter and more expansive. Of course, we can always then get hooked to that feeling of well-being and then get stuck there. But this is so on no matter what approach we are choosing. When it starts to work, there is often, at least at times, a sense of well-being there. And one can get hooked and obsessed and try to just come back to that instead of accepting it joyously that it's a nice side effect. But we need not be afraid of it. We can very well accept that gratefully that sense of well-being, but then keep on that alertness, keep on relaxing all that prevents us to really dive directly into that sense of presence. That's why I think including the body instead of fighting with the body is a very powerful help. There is always, on all the approaches, the possibility that I personally get again hooked in something, make it a matter of pride, start to show off with it, or show off in front of myself only. This is always there on all the approaches, that the alertness has to be there, and it's good when we see it, it looks a bit more spiritual, but actually it's the same old mechanism that is again at work. And I can let go of that also. And then it will come in, it's a bit subtler again. But then if we are sincere, if we are alert, we become aware, there, I'm doing it again. Just a bit more tricky, a bit subtler, that it's not so obvious. No matter what approach we are choosing, that is always there. That tendency is always there. So it's not more coming in when we include the body. I myself had that idea before that the body is an enemy and I have to separate myself from the body. And I can understand that people who are in Advaitic teachings look a bit askance at my talking about including the body. One is not getting body obsessed with it. It's simply that part of the expression is included, and that can become very powerful, very helpful. It's like you're acting the roots, you're activating the roots of a plant, but then the plant can grow into up to the sky. I see Andreas is back. You want to say something?
Yeah, I want to ask something. Maybe it's just what you said in other words, but I'm always amazed, like how if I'm like caught in the bubble of the me in my conscious thinking, how little ideas I have of my um, feelings or what's really going on, and I can see that with myself, and especially in like psychotherapy, that sometimes people have no idea what's actually what they are feeling or what is like motivating them, and so the putting the attention on the body and releasing tensions there, I think maybe makes us more aware of what's really going on, and even with our emotional life. And then we can release that and open up more to our true nature. Would you say, could it be expressed like that?
Yes, it can be expressed like that. Right. Because the feelings, they're always riding on the uh, vital force, on the prana. And the prana manifest is very much connected with the body. So if you are capable then to redirect the attention and observe what's going on in the body, you become aware much more what kind of emotions that are going on, what kind of stuff goes through the mind, because it has an energetic and physical reaction, every emotion, every thought.
So it works both direction,
Yes.
releasing the body or releasing emotions. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. And it's just a little easier to be aware of the body than on subtler levels, because the body is somewhere, uh, everybody is somewhat aware. And so if we putting the attention there and see what's going on, as you said exactly, it can be used like this, that we become more aware of our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, and can be very helpful to let them also go.
yeah, I'm always amazed how much I can live in this bubble of the me and be totally like disconnected or entfremdet in German from from my feelings or from what's like really going on.
Yes, we can, because uh, the habit is also like that for most of the people living in the mind. Even even body obsessed people, they are not really aware much of their body. They are mentally obsessed about me being a body, but not really feeling much what's going on in the body. It's the mental obsession. And once we are in the mind and going round and round in thoughts, there is very little awareness of really what's going on, what the experience is right now. And
Yeah,
learning to redirect the attention, learning to become aware of that magic, of this interaction of consciousness with the different levels, down to the gross physical. This is sheer magic that goes on all the time. And starting to become aware of that is opening up the heart to transcend, not to get stuck on those levels. To be aware they are there, they are expressions, nothing wrong with them being there. But then this is the base, and the experience can go way beyond it. Okay, shall we leave it at that?
yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hario. Hario.
Hello.
My first sentence was, what is spiritual? Spirituality. And for me, for a long time, the body was an obstacle for spirituality. And then I understood when I included that it's a great help. That's why I keep on emphasizing it, because this is a misconception that is very common, that either you are busy with your body or you can be spiritual. And you can harmonize the different levels in such a way that that makes it easier to connect with your true nature. And that is what I call spiritual. There's nothing unspiritual, including the body, including the vital force, including the emotions and the thoughts, and learn to turn everything in that direction, harmonizing it, learn to be aware what kind of obstacles we have created intellectually, emotionally, energetically, and physically, and learn to let them go. And then come back home and be natural. I wish you all well. Hario. Hario.